Okay, Peter Michaels.
Patrick Bateman.
Here on an evening, a snowy evening.
It's cold.
Yeah, you wearing shorts?
No shorts today. I was saying to producer Ryan and Ryley when I came in, like, we've been treated really nice as far as the weather goes.
Yeah, nice to the point where I'm like, good God, what's
going on?
What's to come?
And then all of a sudden this morning, I get a knock on the door. I'm still half asleep, and my daughter's car won't start.
Oh, no.
So I try to get it going. It won't go. So now I got to drive her to school.
Oh, so cold that okay.
So and then there's like where her high school is, there's 3 other schools in the immediate area. So it's just a gong show of traffic. So now I'm cold, I'm tired, I've got to figure out what's going on in this vehicle. The traffic is absolutely stupid. I get back home, figure out it's a dead battery in the car, so I'm going to have to do that. Figure I might as well shovel while I'm out here. So all it took was basically 2 hours to undo all of the nice weather we've had up to this point, and I'm sick of it.
Yep, already. You're not wearing shorts. The roads are dog shit. I don't know.
There's no F1 on TV anymore. Are you good? It's been a week and a half or so. No,
it's been
like 2 days. It was kind of a
2
controversial
days.
finish, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it didn't go in your favor then.
It didn't go in anyone's favor.
No.
Even the Champs fans, a lot of them are a little bummed about it. I don't know how to explain it in like other sporting terms, but basically on the very last, like in the dying minutes.
It all happened at the very end, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the dying minutes of the race, which includes 20 drivers, although I think 4 or 5 of them DNF'd, did not finish. So in the dying minutes of the race, safety car. Everyone's got to slow down and just maintain their position. And you've got this big championship battle for the final race of the entire season. Number 1 and 2 are tied. They have the exact same number of points, 369.5 points. Like, that never, ever happens. It's Game 7, all right? This race is Game 7. And then at the end of the race, when the current champion has been dominated for the entirety of the race, like truly dominated, was not going to win, it's like they threw an overtime, like a shootout into Game 7.
Oh, no.
The ref just decided, you know what, the rule says this, but we might actually do something like this.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty controversial. It's like, but kind of a big deal. So to the point where, you know, if this happened between the Oilers and the Leafs, you're a hardcore Oilers fan, you're happy to see them win, but you're also like,
right.
Didn't exactly
Shouldn't have gone down that way.
Yeah. The best comment I saw online was that the best driver of the season won, but not the best driver of the day. Which is a race. There's each race is its own competition, right? So, anyways.
And is there any accountability to the guy that made that decision to go off the page a little bit? Like,
I don't know.
That seems a little
I don't know.
Suspect.
Yeah, it's a little.
All right, well, you're handling it well. That's the main thing.
Yeah, it was weird, man. I got up at 5:45 on Sunday morning.
I know that is. How often is that throughout? Because the races are all over the place, so the time zones are different.
Yeah, this one is in Dubai,
right.
Abu Dhabi. So I don't remember it was like 4 o'clock their time, I think, when it started.
Yeah.
Usually, if you live in Europe, you're usually watching a race on a Sunday at like 4 or 5 or 6, I think is how it works. And then, you know, it's great when the races are either in our hemisphere, in Brazil or Mexico or Texas or Montreal, because it's a little more of an appropriate time for us. And then on the flip side, you've got races in Japan and specific night races, I think Singapore, which I haven't actually gotten to see yet, where I can't wait to see those races because those will be at like 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
Which means you're having a party.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, got up super early and had this moment when all this shit was going down in the race. You know that feeling that you get when you knew you were in trouble as like a kid?
Yeah.
I don't know, like a burning sensation or like just this, you feel flushed. That's what I was going through on Sunday. It was crazy. And it wasn't even because the person I was rooting for lost. It was just because it was such a mess.
Just the way that it was done.
And it was like mind-blowing. Couldn't believe it. And then I went back to sleep, so I'm fine.
At least you were able to go back to sleep.
Anyways. Yeah, it was pretty whatever. Thanks for bringing that up, Pete.
Okay, sorry. Well, cars are going to likely come up in this conversation that we're going to have today with the Command sisters.
Yeah, Sarah and Charlotte Command, who I believe on their Instagram it actually says, yes, that's our real last name.
Yes, that's right. We'll get that out of the way now.
I meant to bring that up because I'm used to that very same question myself. But I also meant to bring this up. I was very curious to know about they have a new album out called Rouge, and there's a song called I Can Do What I Want To, and my note is song evolution and what the hell were you doing with your guitar? And didn't exactly phrase it that way, but we still got the answer. So
and man, these ladies have lived an unbelievable life over the last several years. They have got some stories to tell.
Pretty wild.
Huge shout out to Sawback Brewing Company, Go Services Inc., Bose Barn Stage, and Tourism Red Deer for helping support the show.
Yes, the show being the road, the stage here at Communal Creative Studios, where we hosted Sarah and Charlotte, the Command Sisters. So, Charlotte, you're in Toronto, and Sarah, you're back near home in Edmonton. You guys grew up outside of Edmonton, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we actually grew up where, I guess I shouldn't say where I am, but yeah, like in the area, like outside of Edmonton.
Okay.
And then lived in Toronto for 6 years. And we are still based out of Toronto, but I go back and forth between Edmonton and Toronto.
And when was the move from Alberta? Like, when did you officially be like, you know what, we need to get out to Toronto?
Yeah, so it was actually, Charlotte can attest to this. We were living in Edmonton, and I found this opportunity on the internet. I'm just gonna move my camera. Sorry, Sean. We're making food. I'm just gonna move it.
We will get into what he's making in a little bit, but finish this story and then we'll find out what he's making.
Okay, can I restart this? Is this being like cut up afterwards so I don't look like a crazy person?
Not really, but go ahead.
Cool. It's candid here, you guys. So no, we were living in Edmonton, and I found this opportunity online called the CMI program. It's run out of Coalition. I don't know if you know the record label, the management company, and they basically mentor artists for 2 months. And I found it online. I was like, oh, this would be so fun. We should go. And Charlotte and I ended up getting a scholarship, lived in Toronto for 2 months, and then just never packed our bags and left Toronto. So it's very spontaneous.
That's fair. That's fair.
And when you went out that way, did you know anybody out there? Did you have any family, friends?
No, I don't think so.
I didn't know anybody, honestly. It was like we're in a big new city with like no friends yet, so we had to make friends.
It was definitely like, now when I look back, it was like that mixture that a lot of musicians and entrepreneurs have, where it's like you're almost stupid, but you're also almost like really smart and ambitious at the same time, and you make a lot of stupid decisions. And that one probably could have been a really bad decision, but it ended up turning out to be really great.
That's fantastic. So I'm like, what's the evolution of your music history? Because you guys have been playing music for a long, long time, and you've been traveling with that music for a long time too, right?
Oh yeah, it's been quite a journey. I don't know, Sarah, if you want to talk about this a bit. Like, we started out playing a lot of little festivals. There's a big country music scene in Alberta. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what we grew up doing, is like playing festivals. We were literally kids. Like, our parents didn't force us. We just kind of, I don't know, it was just something that we were passionate to do. And like, the weather was so cold, so we were just like, what else is there to do? Stay inside and like practice your instruments for 10 hours a day.
Yep.
So, and then we went to Nashville when I was 15 and Sarah was 12, I think. And then we started working with people down there, and it just kind of snowballed. And we were traveling all over, kind of doing music. We never really actually released our music properly, but somehow we were just getting gigs and gigs. And so we were just, we kind of did it backwards. We just like grew up touring and gigging. And then finally we're like, okay, we should actually record some of our own music, because I was writing all these songs, right? So that's kind of how it went.
Yeah, it was kind of complicated. Like, when we signed a record deal with Universal and Republic, and we had to write our bio, we were like, okay, like, what do we include and what do we take out? Because I think like a lot of other family bands that like started out performing first before it wasn't like, you know, we're like, oh, we want to be internet famous. Like, nothing wrong with people that do that route, but like, we really started out like playing shows first. So when we had to like write our bio, we're like, what's the story? Like, where did we really start? Because we've just been performing with each other for so long. I think like since we were technically 6 and 9, so that's over, you know, obviously over 10 years ago now, until like today. Now we're released our debut EP Rouge with Universal, which is exciting. So very different than how we started out, but we can't wait for live shows to come back post-COVID.
Yeah, that's an interesting journey for sure. A different roadmap.
When I first read that you guys played the Bluebird Cafe at 15, and I was like, what? Did you know the history of that venue? Did you have a full comprehension of what you were playing in?
So my sister was a fan of Taylor Swift. I mean, Taylor Swift was like in her country days back then, I think.
Yeah.
And so we kind of knew that history. We
I
played
knew the story. I didn't know much of the previous history. I had to learn as I went along, but I knew Taylor Swift was discovered at the Bluebird Cafe, and that was about the extent of it. And
That's all you
there's
need
a
to
lot
know.
more history than just that. So
Yeah.
But it was crazy though, like that opportunity actually happened because we had gone on this website. I think people may still use it, called Sonic Bids, where you apply for shows. And our mom was helping us, like, because we wanted to go to Nashville and we wanted to play shows so bad. So she was like, okay, I don't know, there's this website called Sonic Bids, you can apply for shows. And so we applied for the Bluebird, not really knowing how hard it is to get in. And they gave us like an hour show, and I was 12. I still think I'm one of the younger people to play the Bluebird for an hour showcase. I don't know the stats, but I like to think I was one of the youngest.
Did you have an hour at the time?
Yeah, we did. It was all original. So my
Wow.
sister was crazy and wrote like songs like 24/7 when she was younger, because we didn't really have a life outside of music. So yeah, it was. Now when I look back, that's a long acoustic set for.
yeah, oh my God, I know. And I can't believe we did that. When I think about it
Did a
now,
lot
it's
of
like,
crazy.
oh, we did that.
Did a lot of crazy with us. It could have turned out really bad.
Yeah.
Were you, do you think you were still at a kind of young enough age where you didn't necessarily have the anxiety, the performance anxiety that some people have in their older years?
Definitely. For me, like I was so, man, it was just such a magical trip. It was like our first time to Nashville, and I wasn't jaded by anything and like music, and it was all so like new and exciting, and I wasn't nervous at all. I was just like, I don't know, I just went forth and I did it. I didn't think, I just did it. I did it. And sometimes I wish I was that brave. You know how you get older and like the roller coaster that you used to be like really like, yeah, let's go on that, like all of a sudden is kind of scary.
Yeah.
I feel you.
I'm trying to like untrain my brain now, kind of like the fears I've developed over like young adulthood, and like go back more to that like childlike state, which is
Be more
good
like
for
like
me.
in your childhood. Yeah.
Damn.
Be more free.
That sounds like an ideal circumstance to make your hour-long debut at the Bluebird. That's an hour. I can't even believe that.
So I got to get into some questions about your parents then. So,
Yeah.
because I mean, obviously you don't get to Nashville at 12 and 15 by yourselves. Are your parents musicians? What's the story there?
So I know Charlotte can vouch on this too. The funny thing is my dad actually was big into hockey, Alberta life. And then my mom is not a musician, not to sound rude to her. She does dabble on the piano, but she doesn't perform or play or anything. But she loved musicals. So my mom loved musical theater and played that for a lot growing up. And my dad loved like AC/DC and Joe Bonamassa and Nickelback, a little bit controversial. I don't mind a few of their songs. So like, you know, rock music. So I think just being exposed to that growing up kind of made us love it. I'm sure Charlotte can vouch for that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We just loved music growing up. But yeah, they aren't musicians.
Joe Bonamassa is not necessarily a name you often hear of a parent teaching or showing their kids, you know?
Right. He followed us on Instagram last week.
Oh my God.
hate to like brag. I don't usually name drop, but that was kind of random. So I'm a big fan. Yeah, he's pretty cool. But yeah, also kind of not normal. Like my dad took me to a Joe Satriani concert when I was 12, and I was like probably the only 12-year-old girl in the crowd, but it was awesome.
It's funny. I was blown away too. I was looking through your Spotify list, and you guys have your favorites playlist there, and I saw Steve Vai's name on there, and I was like, wow, these girls have something. So is that where? So you're talking about Steve Vai and Joe Satriani. Where did the love of guitar come from?
Probably my dad. When I first started playing guitar, I didn't gravitate towards strumming. I had probably more of like a passion for soloing right out the gate. I don't know why. Sometimes like as a kid, you tend to like, I don't know if you're like born with it or it's just interest. Like I still haven't like figured out my like position on that, but like I definitely was like more gravitated towards soloing. So when I found people like on the internet, like YouTube was booming around like the time I was like 11, 12, 13, and then like discovered people like Joe Satriani. I remember having a song on like, this is aging myself, I'm still pretty young, but having like his songs on like my first generation iPod Touch, and just thinking like Joe Satriani was like the coolest thing ever. So and Charlotte was the same for like piano. She's like classically trained. I know my sister loves like symphony stuff. Not my realm, but I think we both like love like the geeky musician side of music, aside from like the pop rock stuff we're releasing today.
Yeah. So Charlotte, are you bringing a lot of like your theory knowledge to the writing of the Command Sisters? Is that something that factors in a lot?
I mean, God, to be honest, no, not at all.
Okay.
I will be brutally honest.
You totally do. You totally have like, I think you use a lot of your piano knowledge when you're writing.
Yes, that's true. I'm very, very glad for my classical sort of upbringing, like, you know, the training, everything I did. I use it in my head, you know, I think subconsciously when I'm writing, or especially when I'm, you know, on the piano, but I don't think about it a lot or purposely try to integrate it into my music. Like when I'm writing, I think I'm just focusing on feelings and feeling it and letting it out. And then lyrics, I'm just like, you know, crazy about lyrics and like working on that. But I don't think I think about the theory. And I think that's when you know that you know more than maybe you think you do, because it's just subconscious. It's there, but you don't have to think.
Yeah. You inherently know what's wrong and right before you even really attack it. Yeah.
So yeah,
I think it's kind of cool to look back on though, like having that knowledge, I guess, like since everything nowadays that we focus on is so much like internet stuff and shows and like Instagram and TikTok and all those like those outlets that are a lot of fun, but sometimes I kind of wish I had more time to like focus on like the foundation, which is like the theory and that stuff that, you know.
I need to get back into classical piano. That was fun. I definitely want to do more.
Yeah.
So when like, and I do want to touch on a couple of things with the new record, which I can't believe it's like your first official release. That seems crazy to me after the last 10 minutes of discussing your history. But Rouge is out now, and like with your classical training, with your guitar work, do you feel like you can, like with the guitar stuff specifically on I Can Do What I Want To, I'm curious to know what the song evolution was and where specifically and when the guitar riff actually came into the song.
Yeah, so that one's kind of a cool story. My sister had written that like years prior, before we got a record deal in Toronto. Or did you write that one in Alberta before we moved to
I wrote
Toronto?
It in Toronto, but it was like one of our first years here.
Okay.
Yeah, so she had this song pre-written, and basically when we got signed, they kind of looked at the songs we already had. So we kind of gotten like signed based on our songs pre-record label. So we weren't like necessarily co-writing for the record. So we brought this song into the studio. We recorded this one with a guy named Tim Pagnotta, who is known for doing the recent Blink-182 record, Walk the Moon, Neon Trees, a lot of bands I love. So he's like a genius at guitar tone. I have a lot, like, he's just crazy. I was basically fangirling the whole time because he's just so like incredible at all that stuff I'm not very good at, but he's really great at like picking like the riffs and the hooks, etc. So when that guitar riff came in, I remember that day really well. I tried falafel. Am I saying that right? Falafel.
Yes.
Falafel for the first time. We were in Burbank. And it was really spicy falafel. So somehow, for some reason, that riff came out really quickly. And I think we ended up like saying it was because of the spicy falafel that riff came out.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, like the tone and everything. I mean, he's just a genius at that. So that's all him. That was absolutely, the tone was none of me, but the guitar was a lot of fun.
I was gonna say, because that tone, whatever was going on there, is not something I would ever pretend to figure out myself. It sounded very, very cool.
I don't plan on like. I think it's a few guitarists I've talked to about this, like more like a respected guitarist. I don't want to name their names because I'm realizing that they may not want this out there, but they've kind of said like, you know, not everybody is like as geeky at the tone, and they just let their like professionals handle it. So that was like Tim. I was like, I'm not going to touch this. Like, I'll let you take this one.
It's good to know. Hot tip from the industry.
How did the pandemic play into the release of the album? Was it something was something you guys had hoped to have out sooner, or was this kind of around the time you were planning on things?
Sure, you want to talk about the whole spring thing that happened?
Yeah, so well, I feel like the rollout was like definitely a little bit slower than it was supposed to happen. So we were actually supposed to perform like kind of like the debut first single off, that was last year in March it was going to be April, the end of April 2020.
Oh, wow.
And of course, that's right when the pandemic hit. And we were actually supposed to perform in like a showcase in New York and live there for a month. And like, the whole thing, like to promote like the first single that was going to come out. Yeah. And of course, then that didn't happen. And so, yeah, obviously everything just got kind of like, okay, for a while we weren't sure, are we even going to release music, and then I think we just realized we got to push forward. We got to do something. So it definitely slowed the process a bit, but I mean, what can you do, right?
It was pretty hard because like Charlotte said, that New York showcase was going to be like a big one for us. Because the whole label that we just started working with was going to come out, and we just signed with this new agent, and he was going to come out. So I think like not having that showcase at that time was probably, obviously the pandemic wasn't good for a lot of reasons. I don't like to complain about it. I know like a lot of people kind of had that same kind of situation where they had like exciting stuff coming up and the pandemic kind of put those things on pause. But if anything, I think the pandemic taught us to like evolve in different ways and be open to change, like doing it ourselves at home, which, we did a lot of that during the pandemic. So.
And you're moving through it. I mean, you got to play the new Alma Combo stage a couple weeks back, right?
Yeah, we started playing shows again. So just this year, actually. So we're really excited about that. It's awesome. We can play in front of a crowd now. And that's allowed, so it's awesome.
We actually have a show in Niagara Falls on the 29th, so shows are coming back.
Very nice.
What's that Lemon stage like? I follow all the stuff on social media about it. It looks like a really, really cool spot, but yeah, talk a little bit about the Lemon stage experience.
Yeah, so that's really cool. I don't know if the listeners watching, listening, the Lemon stage. So that is at the Alma Combo, famous Toronto venue, was known kind of punk rock venue for years. It was shut down. They renovated it. And the investor actually is from Dragon's Den, which is cool. If you guys watch Dragon's Den, like Dragon's Den. So the whole venue now looks like it's straight out of like some crazy like Cosmopolitan rocker chic magazine. Like a lot of money went into like the vibe of the venue, and then they have like top of the line sound. So to see like a venue have like a lot of funding behind it and do it right is really cool. So there's a lot of support in that way. And then the Lemon people, Lemon Entertainment, are so incredible. And just they have like a lot of support in all areas. So to be like a new artist going to a venue like that, having that much support is like really exciting. It's pretty killer. And also like just as a fan going there to hang out and drink, it's a good time.
Yeah, a lot of history there. That must have been very cool, especially, what would you say, less than a year after you guys finally started playing shows again? To get to that stage seems like a pretty decent achievement.
Yeah, actually, it's been kind of funny because our first show after the pandemic, like after whatever, like a year and a half of the pandemic, right, was opening for Our Lady Peace and Moist, actually in Ottawa. So that was our first actually real show.
That was terrible.
It was kind of nerve-wracking. It was kind of like, whoa, I haven't been on a stage in front of people, in like a year and a half, and now we're doing this. Holy crap. And then right after that is the Alma Combo. It's like, whoa, right back into it.
Very cool. So, that's it sounds like 2021 was pretty decent.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? When you put it that way, yes.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Plus, you've had some, I was just going through your Instagram today. Like, are there any other TV shows you can get that song on, or?
Oh, it's weird. That song just keeps on giving. Like we get emails, we're like, what? Like they still want to use this one? Like that one actually has a funny story, and I'll say it really quickly because I'm talking way too much, and this is your guys' show. But we recorded that one it was Charles. Like we'd stayed up all night at a Grammy after party, and
We're talking about Feel Good, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
We were booked in the next day after staying up until 6 a.m. Toronto time. So we recorded that like on like 0 hours of sleep the day after the Grammys. So I'm surprised it came out as good as it did. And I was sicker than a dog. I still think I had COVID because I was in, we recorded that like February 2020 before COVID hit. So yeah, the song keeps working out though.
Yeah, no kidding. Like I saw what it was like 2 or 3 TV episodes I'd seen, at least a movie. Is there John Cena involved somewhere?
Oh, the WWE commercial.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's wild. So you're at a Grammys after party. You're in LA already. Was Tim kind of your hookup there, or?
That one was, sorry, Shaw, I'm talking a lot. That one was.
Go ahead. No, you can keep talking. It's okay.
That one was actually a guy named Mike McAllister, and we've written a lot of songs with him after that I really hope get released because they're absolutely killer. But yeah, that was with a different guy. So I feel bad he had to meet us that day for the first time because I was hurting. I don't know about Charlotte, but I wasn't doing well. We didn't feel good.
Well, how Feel Good happened was Mike had sent me the track, like I think a few days before we flew out to LA. And they sent me, it was like a brief for like syncs, like we could use this in commercials. I think this track is very syncable. Here's some lyric ideas, feel good or whatever. And I think, I used one of those phrases or whatever. And then when we were flying out, I think they were literally like, yeah, this is awesome. We're going to hook you up in the studio the day before you fly back to Canada. And you're going to record the song. So it was really
I think it was the same day. Wasn't that the same day? I feel like we flew back.
Maybe it was. Maybe we were recording in the morning and then we flew back later at night.
We recorded in the morning and then we flew back to Toronto for the Junos. Wasn't that how it went? It was messy. That may have been the year before. I can't remember. I just remember not getting a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a whirlwind.
I'm exhausted already just hearing all of this. So we're talking, we're like Grammys, after parties, flying in for Junos, all the movie and TV stuff, opening for Our Lady Peace, playing the Bluebird. And one story I wanted to ask about was apparently you guys closed your set in Ottawa with the Ballad of John and Yoko, which you played in Central Park for John Lennon's birthday celebrations. What?
Yes.
Yeah.
How the hell does that happen?
Sarah, you froze. I guess it's my talk.
I actually we feel really unsuccessful all the time. No, did I freeze cute? Did I look okay?
Oh no, you're back. You're back. You're good. You're
froze
good.
In a great spot. Okay, Ballad of John and Yoko, take 2.
Okay. Sure. Oh, good story about this one. Would you like to explain the contest scenario? It was a good one.
Oh yeah. So yeah. Okay. Well, basically, I had written this song about Alberta because there was a Alberta song contest that year. Basically, write a song about Alberta, and you might win whatever it was, $10,000. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, right? And I didn't place first, second, or third, right? So I didn't really, I didn't win anything, which is, it's fine.
I thought it was an amazing song. Like I thought, I was just a proud sister, being like, this deserves to be at least 4th. Like, I thought it was a good song.
Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah. And so I wrote a song. I thought it was decent. Like I thought it was a good little song about Alberta. And so anyways, I entered it in the John Lennon songwriting contest, and it actually ended up winning that. And that was, it's kind of ironic. I entered it in an Alberta contest. It doesn't win, but it wins the John Lennon, which is like, this bigger, like American contest. That's kind of funny. So the prize, of course, was to go down to NAMM and perform, part of the John Lennon bus that kind of tours around and teaches people things. And so we did that, and we got to know the guy that, he works for the Lennon bus and books a bunch of their stuff. And so, he invited us to perform for, it was John Lennon's 75th birthday in Central Park. They were forming like this huge human peace sign, and they took aerial shots, and Yoko Ono was there, and we got to see her. So it was pretty cool. It was a pretty crazy thing. And I just remember it being October and thinking, wow, it's really warm, like compared to Alberta. It's actually warm out right now in October. This is weird. But it was insanely fun. So
I'm surprised you weren't there.
I would have been there if I could have been. I have been. It all took place at like Strawberry Fields. Is that kind of where it was?
Yeah.
In Central Park? Yeah.
Yeah.
Been there.
Yeah.
Stood outside of the Dakota, bald like a baby, standing outside the Dakota.
Oh.
So, but I am curious why the Ballad of John and Yoko? Out of all the Lennon tunes, what was it about the Ballad of John and Yoko?
So it wasn't our decision. I think I was pretty young. I think I was only 15 then, or 15, 16. So I only knew like the pretty basic, not basic, God, that's a horrible way to put it, the more popularized John Lennon songs. And not basic, more popular John Lennon songs. And so they had kind of recommended some ones that were maybe less expected for his birthday. So I actually think it was the John Lennon Association and probably Yoko Ono that had some say in what song we performed. So I like to think it was Yoko Ono that picked it. But
we also did Beautiful Boy. About his son. So we did that one. And I think they definitely asked us to do like those songs. And so we actually, so the Ballad of John and Yoko, I will say we learned that one in the vehicle on the way, because we actually drove at the time. My parents were, my mom mainly didn't like flying, so we all drove from Alberta to New York, and almost 40 hours or something. So then we learned the Ballad of John and Yoko and the other one in the vehicle. Yeah.
Which I honestly, now looking back, we weren't that busy. We probably could have learned it sooner, but just knowing us, because we always do things last minute, we thought it's a 40-hour drive. Like we have enough hours to learn the songs. We learned it on the way there, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, but that's what we did.
Were you worried about it when you're nearing when you hit hour 35? Were you a little concerned about the progress you'd made, or had you nailed it already?
I felt pretty confident about it. I think at that point. Yeah, I felt pretty confident.
It's a long time.
It's funny with performing and stuff for some reason, and we definitely didn't feel this way taking off time during COVID, but I think because we played so many shows over the years, we got overly confident in our ability to learn things quickly, and it did bite us in the ass a couple times where we thought we'd learned something, at least for me. I thought I'd learned something, and maybe I don't know it as well as I thought I did learning it the night before. But in that case, it ended up working out fine.
Sounds like exam season.
No kidding, eh? Just cram. That's what everybody should do. Go on a 40-hour drive and cram for your exams.
We got to take a closer look at that Lennon songwriting contest, because I'm pretty sure other fellow Edmonton area band, the Royal Foundry, have won that.
Did they win that?
I think they've won that once as well
yeah.
before.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm pretty sure you're right. Some of our fellow Edmontonians have won that. Yeah.
Now, before we move on from Edmonton or Alberta talk, and Sarah, you said you're in Edmonton. Are you planning on driving that Benz back to Toronto when it's a bit nicer out, or what?
I love to. I love driving so much. I mean, I got my license only last summer, which is embarrassing. Well, I lived in Toronto for 6 years, and to be honest, I couldn't afford a car for the longest time. I mean, you guys know musician life, it's not easy. So I couldn't even really afford a parking spot in Toronto, let alone a car and insurance. So Charlotte and I both got our driver's license really late. But I'd love to take a little road trip across Canada. It's really pretty.
Have you had at least a few really nice days to drive that thing around? No, it's been pure ice, I feel like. I mean, some days on that highway, it's not that bad, but luckily, the vehicle is really good for driving in the snow. So I feel a lot more safer on ice per se. It's weird, the newer vehicles, I didn't even know this before I got my vehicle, have a self-driving mode, which is almost kind of like the Teslas. I don't really trust it, but so I like to think I'm safer. Yeah, I mean that's
in
a
it.
pretty luxurious car to test. Test that feature out on ice, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, oh, should I like drive my car off a cliff? I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, yeah,
Probably
it
not.
looks
Yeah.
looks like a pretty sweet ride. I wouldn't mind driving that back to Toronto, once or twice a month myself.
Was the thought of the car the push to finally get your driver's license, or what made you finally decide I'd better do this?
So I've always loved like nice cars since I was like young. I remember like wanting a nicer car when I was like 14, and my parents being like, no, you don't waste your money kind of situation. Like, and so I always like kind of waited until it was like the right time. And I decided to save money. I got a really, really bad Nissan, and nothing against Nissans at all. Love them. My vehicle had a lot of problems, and it was like 12 years old, and I'd put like $3,000 into fixing it, and then I just found out like a month ago I needed like $2,000 more worth of like fixing, and I was like, at this point, like this thing is like gonna cause me a lot of problems. So I ditched the Nissan and I got a new car.
Natural transition,
Natural.
Nissan to a Mercedes.
Yeah.
Just the natural
You
transition.
know, a little bit of a change. And then I don't know, I kind of wanted, it was kind of impulsive because like I like just randomly drove into the dealership one day because my boyfriend was on a skidooing trip, and I was like, I wonder how much these things are to finance, like just out of curiosity. And then I ended up getting it. I was like, oh, crazy. Probably a bad idea.
No, it sounds like fun.
What do you do?
I still, take the subway and the streetcar here in Toronto.
Yep.
Just so everybody knows.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
you make a good point. I mean, I think less than a month ago we had Mitch on from Born Ruffians, and he's never had his license. He's
That's right.
always lived in Toronto, and
Wow.
there's
Yeah,
no
you don't
need.
really need to drive too much here. And obviously, if you go a little bit out of the main sort of core of Toronto, yeah, you definitely need to drive. But I haven't needed to here really, so.
Yeah.
Toronto real estate and rent though is so much money. Like I mostly spend my time these days in Alberta, so I can afford to have a nicer car, but I do not know how people have Benz and like a $4,000 a month apartment in Toronto. Like it's crazy.
Lots and lots of money.
So I'm like, maybe not music. I don't know what industry they're in, but
Yeah.
Just working on Bay Street or something.
Oh yeah, Bay Street boys, all the Bay Street finance people. Oh yeah.
Do you live right downtown, Charlotte?
No, I actually live in the East End, kind of by the water and the lake. It's I'm a little bit out of it, which is nice. It gets nature a little bit, so.
Yeah. You like close to the bluffs or something?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Now we've already talked. Okay, so we've heard some different musical influences here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a wider range than what we're used to here.
Which is fantastic. I think that's awesome.
We've heard about Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
Satriani, Bonamassa, a little bit of Nickelback maybe. You guys grew up together, like with very different influences. It sounds. Are there music? Is there music that you totally disagree with each other on?
Sure. So I know, like, personally, let me think of like my guilty pleasures I think you hate. Oh yeah.
Oh,
In my
I hate
high
a lot of your
school
music. I hate a lot of.
Okay,
All
there it
right,
is.
here we go.
In my high school years, I loved rap. But I was also like a big sports junkie, and I love working out. So I think it was just like the music that got me pumped up that I liked the most about it. And then when you're in high school, you think you're so cool. It's like listening to, like, Kanye West and like old school Drake and like Kendrick Lamar when he first came out with Backstreet Freestyle. I'm saying that correctly. All those songs. But I know you're like more of like a you liked a lot of rap, but just maybe not.
I don't know, whatever you were playing was like club music, like pretty hard, like it was like really up music, and I was just kind of like a little too mellow, like to hear it in the morning when you were doing your makeup or whatever.
Yeah, I'm like blasting like Big Sean or something.
Yeah, so like, I like rap more now. I think when I was younger, I was just like Taylor Swift and I don't know, and then orchestral music, that I would listen to and soundtrack.
Fleetwood Mac, you like.
And Hans Zimmer and then Taylor Swift, there was nothing in between. yeah, that was definitely mine. I don't know. Is there anything of mine you hate, Sarah? Maybe the dramatic movie music that's like really like when some character's dying and I'm listening to it and I'm like, this is beautiful, and you're like, why are you listening to that? That's depressing. I don't know.
That and like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't say this because there's a lot of fans. I was not. Oh, I don't know if I should put this on the internet. I was not a huge fan of the early Taylor Swift country music. I was not. That probably will make me canceled in so many areas. I just, for some reason, when I was younger, I didn't like it. I've grown to appreciate it now. But I think there was, maybe it's because Charlotte played it 100 times.
I think it's because I used to like imitate.
Like it. So we probably like drown ourselves out with our rap and Taylor Swift music.
Yeah, I was like so opposite. I think it's because I used to imitate her. I used to sing it. I don't even think you hated the songs themselves. I think you hated me singing them.
Overexposure.
And sound really annoying kind of on purpose. And I think that's why you hated Taylor Swift, was because you hated me singing it.
Hate's a strong word, but now that she's re-released her songs, I actually really like them. So I think it was probably just you re-singing them 24/7 in our house that got me like, not liking Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that was probably it. That was definitely it for you.
That's 2 weeks in a row. Hans has made the podcast.
Yep.
I just want to say.
Yep.
Just want to say that's last week's episode as well.
If you want to get into another Hans Zimmer chat,
no,
by all means.
I've said what I need to say about Hans Zimmer.
He's great.
No, it's funny. His name has popped up a few times on this podcast. I had a maybe contentious hot take that he's going to be more influential than John Williams, but I don't know. I think most people will disagree with that. But anyways,
now
it's a hot take. It's a hot take.
We don't have to go there. We don't have to go there. I don't have to say about that.
I already got canceled by saying I didn't like Taylor Swift's early music. So I mean, it's your turn to get canceled.
Your turn. You hate John Williams. There, it's out there. People know now. And like you guys have, like, it's just amazing the chemistry between the two of you and kind of the differences and how you interact. Was there ever did you guys get into some good old fashioned sibling rivalry, some hatred, some brouhaha, some dust ups? Ever, like, anything serious? I can't imagine.
No, I won't speak for Shella. She'll answer too because I'm talking a lot again. I would say no. The only time we ever got into arguments was often if somebody else was rude to my sister, whether it was like people we were doing business with or whatever. I find like that's where the altercations come from, is like we're family, right? And we're like really like supportive of each other. I don't like to see somebody be rude to my sister, or like I think the only times we really fought was like I was usually the one to speak up and tell people off on their bullshit, and then Charlotte doesn't want to, and then she's like, Sarah, like, don't. I'm like, but that person said, yeah, that's probably the only time we've ever really argued. Was like,
we can argue about something, but then and like be like, oh, I hate you, but then it's over the next day. The grudge never lasts past a day, right? But yeah, I definitely like, I have very different a personality. I do not like conflict. Sarah wants to stand up to the man, you know, like all of the men, and just like stand up to everybody. And I'm just like, Sarah, no. And so sometimes there's like arguments about that, and I'm like, you know, but it's okay.
No, in my defense, the fighting doesn't happen after probably 2 or 3 months of bullshit, and then I will stand up for my sister.
Yeah,
but probably that's the only time you ever really argue.
Yeah. But it works out. We're yin and yang, so it in the end it works out. Trust me. You don't want two of me, and we don't want two of Sarah, right? That'd be a lot. That'd be a lot, girl. That'd be a lot.
Plus, you'd have to go through a complete rebranding if anything serious happens. It's not like one of you can just take the command sister's name.
Exactly. Yeah. Be the command sister, and like to be honest, without Sarah, I wouldn't really have a career, because like I don't post anything on social media, and I don't know how to promote myself. I'd be like the artsy person writing all these songs and like that never actually does anything. So it would be a bit of a disaster.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be in music if she wasn't singing or writing songs. So, you know.
Tell us about this Command Media Group.
Oh yeah, thanks. Well, no, I've been doing like marketing on the side of music for years, and like running my own company. And I've noticed lately that like music and marketing and media and advertisements and sync and all this stuff is like so in one world now. Like it just bleeds both industries 24/7. So I kind of thought about, I had my own company for years, just going without a name, and decided to kind of brand it as like a command thing, because now that we've been doing more sync and we do a lot of like collaborations with different brands, marketing, etc., how can we merge those two together? And I was actually, what inspired me, which is weird, I randomly won a Zoom call with Ryan Reynolds. This is like another name drop. It was like 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
Oh shit.
I remember, it was weird. So it was me and like 7 other people from across North America, and I was the only Canadian aside from Ryan Reynolds, which was so funny. And he ended up talking about his marketing company that he runs on the side of his acting, and I just thought it was so cool how he like merges his like creative endeavors with acting, with marketing, and that's what I've been doing the last like 7 years. So the only thing that's really changed is like the name, but the rest is all the same.
I didn't realize about Reynolds, but it all makes sense. I mean, like, what I think he's just doing all that extra stuff on his own, just thinking about it. Like, it's a proper business.
His football club would.
Well, he's got the football,
well, right?
He's got the gin, he's got a million
that's right,
other.
the gin.
He's
That's right.
Probably on a car commercial or a laundry detergent commercial somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
Toilet paper commercial.
There you go.
Dabbles in it. Yeah.
So with your marketing experience and it sounds like, Charlotte, that you're very lucky to have Sarah to kind of handle that stuff for the group. Is there something that you see bands do that you're pretty adamant against in music marketing?
I'd say probably the stuff I'm against is what gets people more followers. Like, I think my downside to what I do is like, I really don't want to jump on trends or do stuff just to get more followers or to make more money. And I'd say that's probably what's like held us back in some ways, because I'm like really like picky in that way, where it's like, yeah, like some of this stuff that's been happening the last couple of years with social media, it works from a marketing perspective, but we still want to be known as like musicians first. So I think that's maybe the only thing I not cringe at, because I think a lot of people do it really well, and for a lot of genres it really works, but just kind of like deciding like, how do we still make ourselves known for the music and our talent and not just always social media. And it's a very hard fine line to like cross every day. It's like difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also don't know if you necessarily get to choose what's more successful for you, right?
Yeah.
In a specific moment anyways.
Yeah, things seem to just happen the way that they're, kind of supposed to happen, and all you can do is put yourself out there. But Sarah's right. Like, you don't want to do something that doesn't feel like you, or doesn't feel right or true to your brand. Even if it's like, something that, often gets people a lot of views or is trending, right? There's a couple things where I'm like, I'm on TikTok and, we're trying to find like, what are we going to post? What are we going to do? And it's like, I look at these trending videos, I'm like, there's no way I'm doing that. So, right, there's only so much you can do.
Also, like, using TikTok as as an incredible platform to reach more people and like authentically show up as yourself. So you see some musicians are absolutely killing it that way. Like, they use the trends, they're themselves, they're unique, they show off their talent, and it feels authentic. I think what I was getting at is more like when it doesn't feel authentic and people are just doing stuff to get more followers, and then it does cheapen sometimes people's brand. And I think sometimes like people that don't know our history may look at our page and may think like, oh, they're just like social media people or like social media girls because of the way our Instagram is created. But we like to still keep those like musician elements, so people know that's like not the only part of Command Sisters aside from the social media, I guess. That makes sense.
And how do you manage expectations? You had a quote that I absolutely loved, because it's so easy to get swept up in the, man, I'm not getting any likes, I'm not getting any shares on this. But it was, don't let an algorithm decide whether or not you or your art are good enough. But that seems to be what it's all about, is collecting all those shares and likes. How do you temper those expectations?
I may go into therapy in 2022. I don't know. Like, I may invest in it. That's an actual serious comment. I think just like working with people that like are super supportive and inspire you to keep going, because we're so lucky. Like, our team is super supportive and are really encouraging. And I think if you let the comments and the likes get to you, it'll literally destroy your mental health and you won't want to be creative. Like Cheryl and I have both gotten burnt out probably 1,000 times. My mental health has taken a major hit over COVID because of the stress of social media. So like nowadays, like what I've tried to focus on is like, how do I provide quality content to my followers that support me now and appreciate the people that are already there? Like aside from the people that are going to come, like we have 17,000 people on Instagram. Some people would laugh at that number and say that's hardly anything, but I'm thinking like 17,000 people in a room, that's insane. Like imagine like 17,000 people, that's like a stadium. So like I try to think about how do I make those people feel appreciated and happy, and then the people that come after that were obviously would be awesome, but trying to focus more on like making our fans content, I guess. Charlotte, anything?
No, that's a great way to put it. Absolutely. Yeah, no, it is tough. Like I definitely like, for me, it's like the song side of things. Like every songwriter's dream is to have a song, you know, that like really, and now it's TikTok, like a song blow up. But I'm like, I'm not going to change the way I write to, you know, to fit the sort of TikTok style of music, right? So, you know, you can see like, views on a song as being like, am I not, you know, good enough? Or is that not a good enough song? Is it not consumable enough in a way? But, you know, it's just like, you just have to forget that, you know, why do I write songs? Obviously I do because I love it. So, just kind of separating, I find. And I can do this more than Sarah. So I'm a bit privileged in that sense. Like I can take a break from social media and get away from it. She does it all day, every day for, you know, us and her job. So, you know, I would say getting away from social media helps, but, you know, I feel bad because Sarah doesn't really do that. So
therapy. I think that would be a nice asset. I think you can write it off if would that be a business expense? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe for sure.
It's
more like therapy mixed with life coaching, not just therapy. Therapy, life coaching mixture.
Hey, no one's going to complain about you trying that out, I don't think.
Yeah.
So, about a month and a half ago, we had Cadence Weapon on the show, and we had asked him about. Did you ask him about his favorite concert in Edmonton? Is that what the question was?
Yes, that's right. Yep.
And he said it was David Byrne.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Is that when you met David Byrne, or is that another time?
So our friend, actually, she plays guitar for him.
What?
And we had met her at NAMM years ago. So everything like trickles back to like the John Lennon thing, and then this thing, and then that thing, like all these like weird little circles. And this is all pre our record deal. This was like years ago. And so we met her at NAMM. She ended up getting that gig touring with David Byrne. And when he came to Toronto, she like sent us an Instagram DM, was like, hey, like I'm playing in Toronto tonight with David Byrne. Do you want to come? And of course we're like, holy shit, like of course, let's go. And so that was why we went. It was in Toronto. And then she let us get like a friends and family pass. We got to go backstage. And I did get to meet him briefly in a room. And I was surprised he changed to very casual clothing because his whole thing is a suit, right?
Yeah.
And then backstage instantly, he was in like flip-flops and he kind of looked like a dad. And it was cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was in Toronto, right? Sure.
Yeah, that was in Toronto.
Okay, so not the same show that Cadence Weapon saw in Edmonton, but so like the fashion branding advice he gave you, clearly you've listened and followed that tip.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love David Byrne for like, I like how he said, there's a quote of his where it's like, if you wear the same thing all the time, like people will remember you for it. And I think when we were trying to find an identity for Command Sisters, that's kind of what was my inspiration, was to kind of consistently stick to one thing. And then hopefully people remember you for it. And it has, I think so far, like people remember us for the red stuff. So, you know.
Oh yeah.
David Byrne. Good advice.
Definitely recognizable for sure.
Yeah.
So we're nearing the end of 2021, and everyone and their mother has put out their list of favorite albums and movies and everything. Is there any music that you guys would want to recommend as we wrap up the year?
Like new stuff that's been released this year?
Yeah, or anything that's new to you in the last 12 months or so?
Oh God, what have I listened to?
I'm a really bad like person for only listening to old stuff that I like. Like Hall & Oates has been on repeats for years.
Nothing wrong with that.
For years. Charlotte, do you have any?
Well, here's my problem is I feel like the year has been such a blur. I don't even remember what happened like 2 weeks ago. What has been released this year?
Oh God.
Well,
Oh, I was gonna say local people. So like in Canada's been killing it. Like JJ Wild, freaking rocks. The Monowills have released a lot of great tunes. The Beaches are a freaking killer. There's been a lot of great Canadian bands, and I have kept in touch.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I did see a show on Netflix recently. It was called The Power of the Dog.
Yeah, that soundtrack's unreal.
The soundtrack was insane. Yeah. Like the music was so creepy and haunting, and I loved that. So like instrumental wise, yeah. I thought that soundtrack was wicked. So
I went back. I've been listening to that soundtrack a little bit this week, and listening to it without the movie, it's a little less haunting.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead, and he's quickly becoming like one of the best movie composers out there, I think.
Killing it. Yeah. It was almost discordant at times.
Yes.
You don't hear soundtracks like that, like I feel like it was and the kind of instruments that you heard, obviously, it reflected the show itself, but the banjo and the picking, and it was really well done.
Yeah, if I might recommend, go check out his soundtrack for, I think it was a 2017 movie with Joaquin Phoenix. It's called You Were Never Really Here.
Okay.
It's a really small kind of independent film, but he did the soundtrack to that, and it's very disarming.
Yeah.
It's not like I think we were talking, it's not something you would just be able to put on for your friends and say, hey, what do you think of this? Because they're not going to have a good time, but you might enjoy it.
You know what? I think I might. That sounds like it's up my alley then.
Yeah. You Were Never Really Here. Check it out.
Okay, thanks. I'll check it out.
And then, are you guys getting together for Christmas? How do Christmas plans work out for you guys?
Yeah, so I'm flying back. So it's crazy. Like flights right now, not good for the airline industry, obviously. I feel really bad for a lot of businesses that have totally been destroyed during COVID. But flights are so cheap from Alberta. It's ridiculous. Like I've basically been able to go back and forth from Alberta to Toronto, like $80 flights, like insane. So I'm like always back and forth. So my deal is I'm going to be in Alberta for Christmas, which is nice because it's all snowy and feels very like holiday. But then we have a show in Niagara Falls on the 29th. So I'm going to be flying to Toronto for that. And then we're going to do like a little mini Christmas then.
That's awesome. Where's the show in Niagara?
At the Sony. It's at the Sony Center.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Amazing. I didn't know it was that big of a venue.
They put you up in one of the hotels, one of the casino hotels?
Yeah, we're staying at a hotel. We're staying at a hotel. It's
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
Nothing fancy, but like,
they're putting us there. You should probably crop that out. We probably don't want people knowing that we're staying. Not that we have any stock or anything, but
fair enough.
Shit. Yeah, Charlotte, no.
Cut.
Making a note at 5:58.
We don't want any stalkers coming. We don't want any stalkers. But no, we're definitely staying. We're definitely staying at one of the casinos. We're gonna switch our hotel and go to one of those because that seems like it'd be more fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I love, I'm not a big gambler. Like, I lose every time, but I love being in casinos. I don't know what it is. Like, it just reminds me of Vegas. I just love the atmosphere. So, like, I've been wanting to go to casino for a long time. So I totally forgot they have a lot of casinos in Niagara. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's got, Niagara is, I guess aside from Windsor, if you're ever out that way, is the place to be for casinos in the whole country. So, yeah, it's a blast.
I'm pretty stoked. I'm definitely going to have to sleep in the next day. I feel like we're going to end up having like a fun time, which will be nice. That's the thing, like shows now, like we never really have them that much anymore. So when we have them, we like make sure we enjoy it. It's like a little mini vacation. So
very cool. Well, Pete.
Yeah, you guys have just the most amazing story. And again, I love the the way you work well with each other, like you say, the yin and the yang. It's amazing.
Oh, thanks. Thank you guys.
It's really nice to talk with you guys. It's really fun. Again, like your setup is incredible. I see. Is that craft beer in front of you guys?
Yes,
Or
it is.
beside you?
These are empty growlers from some quality craft breweries here in Red Deer in Central Alberta.
You got a
nice,
nice.
nice.
Byrne Brewing Co. Big fan.
Well, part of this
That was-
studio is a fairly large green screen, and if you guys are ever through Red Deer or in Edmonton for an extended period of time, we'd love to have you down to make some pretty cool content.
Wow, that'd be
Please, we love that.
Yeah, so
I
next
know,
time you're both out here.
Yeah, I want to go back again. I briefly was in Alberta in October for the first time in years, and I was visiting Sarah's place. This is before she had her nice car, so we would have driven around, and that would have been fun. But I'll definitely be out there again probably soon. So
Yeah, well, you let us know, and we'll figure out a time for you guys to come check it out.
Hop in that Benz. We got Bose has got a great craft beer list and a great stage that we'll have to get you guys on at some point as well.
thank you so much.
Thank
All right,
Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Bye. See ya. Bye.
Wow.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, they're great.
They're infectious.
Mhm.
Like you just can't help it. And I love the way they play off each other.
They do seem like two very different
very
personalities.
different.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just work very well together.
Yeah, and have been for a long time. There's definitely there's got to be some interesting synergy there. That
12 and 15 years old to play the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville.
is that the place that like
everybody?
is that a Garth Brooks started?
played
right,
the-
yeah,
oh,
okay,
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
big
yeah.
deal, right?
That's
So
a-
it's like
it's
the
a-
Bluebird is how you start off, and then the
the
rhyme is how you
where
made
you
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. You can check out their album Rouge, which is out now.
And they got a cool Christmas song too if you're into the Christmas swing of things called "Steal Your Heart," which I was going to talk to them about, but
Oh,
it's a different kind of
Steal
Christmas.
Your Heart.
Steal Your Heart.
I actually there's a moment I got very confused in the podcast. And I don't think you actually know what happened.
Was it towards the end?
No, it was during the Grammys after party chat. So I brought it up again, and I looked over, and you're looking at me, you're shaking your head,
Oh, yeah.
and I was like, "Oh my god, did I just fuck something up?"
No.
But you were just
I was mesmerized. I just couldn't believe. I was shaking my head and
It
just
took me like 30 minutes
I know, I
into
saw
that
you.
interview. I'm like, what the fuck did I just say?
I saw you
Did
look at me too, and I'm like, oh shit, do I tell him that he's doing nothing wrong? But
I
I'm
look
just,
over, you're shaking your head at me, and I'm just
no,
like,
Patrick, no, that's not right.
it's like, holy shit. I just said something very bad, and Pete knows it, and I'm just going to carry on like nothing happened.
No, if you did that, I would legit say something.
I guess we could always kick each other under the table too, right? Anyways, that was really funny. It genuinely took me almost to the end of the interview, and I was just like, oh, he was just blown away by the trajectory and the stories.
It's crazy
Yeah.
how much so I'll shake my head again. Like I can't believe.
It was so funny. It's like, oh man, I really messed up if Pete's doing this. Anyways, that was a great chat. And check out the Command Sisters. Follow them on the socials.
Which
They're very
is
good at it.
obviously very, very good at it.
Yeah, for sure.
And great visuals.
Anyways, I think next week we're going to be doing something a little different.
I think it's the holiday break. We're still going to crank some episodes out, but I think we're going to do some different things.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
The Road the Stage Christmas special.
Yes.
The Christmas extravaganza.
The holiday. Festival.
Is this where I start kicking?
What's an H word for festival
the holiday
extravaganza?
happening.
Yeah, that works.
All right.
We can settle. We'll
We'll figure something out and we'll edit it in later.
We'll come back to this later. Anyways, check out the Command Sisters. Please follow us on social media, The Road the Stage. Please like this video and subscribe to the Communal Creative Studios YouTube channel.
You heard the conversation about algorithms and how much all those likes, shares, everything helps pump us into the algorithm. So do it. That's your Christmas gift to us.
Do it.
Special thanks to Sawback Brewing Company, Red Deer Tourism, Bose Barn Stage, Go Services Inc.
All right. That sounds good. So
we're going to be here all through the holidays on
Wednesday.
The Road the Stage is produced by Ryan Kuly and Riley Surian at the Communal Creative Studios in Red Deer, Alberta. In partnership with Go Services Inc., Sawback Brewing Co., Tourism Red Deer, and Beau's Bar and Stage.